Mamash. And you know what? Even though us as women, we don't have the chovah, we don't have the chiyuv to be, it's just something so special to be in the sukkah. It, maybe it's dafka the opposite, because we don't have the chovah to be here, that we get to feel it like even more so, right? When you're not told you have to. Okay, I'm going to start with Mizmor L'Todah. I feel like that's the first thing that comes out of my spontaneous me.
Let me call everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, she did it already. She did it already.
Yeah? Calling everybody? You can bring food. You know me. We eat. We enjoy. We everything together.
Everything's delicious.
Oh, that's my husband. Oh, my husband. Thank you. My beautiful husband who did everything. I'm so glad that I was able to retire the apron to him, going from chef to not having to, Baruch Hashem, cook anymore. So, besides going to make challah, I really prefer not to find my way into the kitchen. Okay, so I'm just going to start by just saying Mizmor L'Todah. Mizmor L'Todah hariu l'Adonai kol haaretz ivdu et Adonai b'simcha bo'u lefanav be'onana du ki Adonai hu Elohim hu asanu velo anachnu amo v'tzon marito bo'u she'arav b'todah chatzerota b'tihila hodu lo baruchu shemo ki tov Adonai leolam chazdo va'ad dor v'dor emunato. I was saying before, I was literally for 2 months thinking about, when we were making the plans to move, I said, well, when am I going to do the Seudat Hodaya? I knew that my husband would do his own kind of Chanukat Bayit, and I would, Bezrat Hashem, I knew I wanted to do something with the gals, and to have, women come here. And I said, okay, what better time than the yahrzeit of Rabbi Nachman in the Sukkah, right? And to be surrounded by so many lovely women who really, there's a lot that still didn't come, but they're in my heart. And so again, I just want to thank my husband for preparing everything, really. He's giving himself his own mechiyat kabayim. And of course, everything that we say and all the chizuk that we gain should stand as a schut for Rabbi Nachman Mi'uman, Ben Fega, and Simcha. And of course, Rabbi Yisrael Baal Shem Tov Saba Kadisha Be'ezrat Hashem, or Shivat HaYamim, the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. He's always, I don't know if most of you know, but alongside the Ushpizin Ilayim Kadishin, alongside, there's one of the 7 Hasidic masters that also come to visit us. The first day is Baal Shem Tov, the second day is the Magid, the third day is the Alter Rebbe, today is the Mittler Rebbe, and so on and so forth. So for each one of the days, that's why I have my candles, for each one of the days you light alongside. So I have my Baal Shem Tov all the time, written and lit. And I want to, they say that, when Hashem has gifted you with something that you profoundly see as it being the revealed kindness of Hashem, and everything Hashem does is kind and good. But when Hashem reveals it to you, and you meet someone who the revealed kindness has been shown to him, Hashem's benevolent confidence has been revealed, so they say then that person's mazel literally rubs off on him. And so that's the time where you should get a blessing from them. And that's the time where you should just, where the one whose mazel has been uplifted in the most revealed kind way, they should share, their blessings. So I want to impart my blessing on every single one of you, those who are here tonight, those who couldn't come, those who'll be watching, to bless everybody with the schut and the merit to be able to buy their own home in Eretz Yisrael. And Hashem should open up all the gates, as I'll soon share a little bit of details of my story, which is no less than a miracle, that you should have the schut. I know this might sound like a twisted bracha, but I'm still going to say it this way. You should have the schut that even within the challenges of the difficulties, and it's not easy to be in Israel, is mamash niknet b'yisuim. I pray for you that you should be able to see Hashem's hands and His miraculous ways through the derech, through the pathway, and that you should feel that much more. I mean, when I come into the apartment, I'm still like, I keep walking around, Buba, Buba, Buba Shabbat, Buba Shabbat. Like, that's all I keep saying. Like, you know, to have this sense of appreciation for the Sukkot, to be able to buy, you know, have something. Okay, it belongs a lot to the bank, but still, but, you know, to say that there's something here that we could say and we put our 2 feet on is a very big Sukkot. So I want to bless everybody. Everybody should have the Sukkot to be able to do that ASAP now. Mamash, while we're still in Sukkot, and to feel that warm embrace as we're sitting here in the Sukkah, as we're sitting here, Mamash in Me'ain Bet HaMikdash. It's as close as we're going to get to Bet HaMikdash when you sit in a sukkah. It's the embrace that comes after freeing ourselves from the shackles of Esav. We ever ask ourselves, how is it so quickly, right after Yom Kippur, right after, we run straight into the sukkah? Why? Hashem says, now that you're clean, now that you cleansed yourself away, now that you showed me how much you love me, come, and let's meet. Where are we meeting? In a sukkah. Where's a sukkah? Is it my house? Not really. It is a house, but it's not really my house. Is it Hashem's house? Not really. It's not really Hashem's house. So where are we meeting? We're meeting outside. Sukkah means I'm meeting you, Hashem, outside. Where? Where did I meet you outside before? In the midbar. We're back in the midbar. And we're again with the Ananei Kavod. And we're again feeling Hashem's embrace. And Hashem's saying, you're in the midbar. Now, again, you don't know where you're going, right? After you cleansed and you're still trying to orient yourself. Where are you? Who are you? You let go of what you thought you were in Yom Kippur. And now you want to enter into a new garment of the new you, of who you think you're going to be. Let me help you. Let me help. Run into my arms, Hashem says. Run into my arms. Let's meet in the sukkah. Let's not wait until you get all dirty again. So right away, what's the mitzvah as you exit Yom Kippur? Right away to start banging and putting up the walls, and so to speak, creating that sukkah, because Hashem says, I want to meet you, right away. So b'shevach v'behodaya lemelech yechid el chai haolamim. As you'll see in my latter part of what I'm going to say tonight, I kept saying, keep walking around the apartment. This was before we even came here. I said, what am I going to do? I'm going to say thank you to Hashem. What is thank you? What are the words thank you? How can I express what it means to say thank you? That feels so cheap. It feels like there's not enough words just to box it into the 4 letters of Tafa, Dalet, and Hey. It feels so minuscule compared to what I want to really, really, really say to Hashem. What I really, really, I don't have a container for it. There's no container. How could you contain words of gratitude just to give you a small sense? And I don't want tonight to just be about Hodaya for me, about me having a part. I want all of us to feel that overwhelming Hodaya to Hashem for everything that He gives us. And I want you to understand. So again, we're facing now the other direction of Dalet, right? But really, where my old apartment was, on En Gedi, was basically, if you took this apartment and the other side of the building, that apartment is facing my milpeset, my porch that I lived in for 11 years. For 11 years, I've been watching this building. I watched this building built in front of me, brick by brick by brick, 8 years ago. We were in that apartment for 11 years, and I sat there on the milpeset. And not once and not twice and not 3 times, tears running down my face, and I would go out and I would go like this on the milpeset. I would go like this. Hashem, you see all this that's being built in front of me? I didn't know I'm moving to Gimel. Do you see all this? What is it for you to give me an apartment? Those literally were my words. Hashem, Maza bishvilcha. I speak to Hashem in Hebrew. We have like this common language, right? Maza bishvilcha. What is it for you? It doesn't make any sense how I'll even come to an apartment at the time. Kupat ha'ir, no money to pay my rent. You have to understand where the mindset's coming from. And I'm looking and I'm watching these apartments come up. Pop, another apartment. Pop, another apartment. Then I see these. They call these the kshatot, right? There's like 4 buildings, right? They call it the kshatot. And I'm watching these big apartments, like these big buildings And I'm just looking at it, and I'm here. We're here in Eretz Yisrael for 13 years. And I said, Hashem, with every year, another midah of rachamim. 13 years, 13 midas of rachamim. And so I'm here to not only express that this is completely a ness, completely a ness. I mean, I'll give you another example of some of the nisim that we went through when we lived here, okay? When we moved here. So when we moved here, mamish 13 years ago, on the brink of like falling on our face, broke, literally. And I remember at one point we came here and my husband was like, well, what am I going to do? What do we do? And I'm like, well, maybe go back into catering a little bit. He was doing a little bit catering when we left America and so on. At one point, one of the chevra in Ramat Bet Shemesh said to him, you know what? Why don't you go? There's a shul in Bet Shemesh proper. Why don't you go to that shul? I think the Rav is looking to rent out his kitchen, right? And why don't you go and ask him? Maybe he wants to rent it out. And you could start, doing a little bit of catering. I'm okay. So we go in there. He takes me there. He meets the Rav. We go inside to the shul, to the place, and he shows us the social hall. It's a little schlocky, a little bit, whatever. It's okay. We're leaving. We're exiting the building. And now my back, I went before my husband, so it's my back and my husband's behind me. And as we're walking out, he's like whispering to me almost. He's saying to me, so, Orit, what do you think? And I turn around and I see now the building, right? I turn and I look at the building and it says up there, Chesed LaAvraham. My husband's name's Avraham.
No.
So I looked, he's asking me and I'm turning around, I see Chesed LaAvraham. I said, you're asking me? I said, did you look at what it says over here? Chesed, right? And so these are the things that Hashem just opens up if we just live our life with our eyes opened, and recognize that everything that Hashem does. So here I am. I could have sat there on the Milpeset and stopped davening. And of course, there were days where I'm very embittered. I'm not going to lie. There are days where, I remember the days where my kids were begging to go out on Sukkot. On Chol Hamoed Sukkot, they were waiting to go. We had a kinky car, and there was no money to put gas in the gas tank. We couldn't even take them out for a ride because there was no money to put in the gas tank. So if we give up and we stop davening and we stop trusting in Hashem, then He says, you give up on me, you're putting yourself right away in the hands of nature. So what I'm hoping that we're going to come to tonight is to recognize that stop using your brain to try to figure out the way God is going to plan your life. Because whatever you think He's planning for you, it's going to be something completely out of the box. It's going to shatter every logical process that you even thought could happen. Hashem's going to find you. You're looking again a shidduch for somebody. You're looking, how is my husband going to change? Where's the shalom? Where's the briut going to come? Did I ever in my mind ever believe leaving Muncie literally on, almost like I have to tell you, literally wheelchair bound, coming to Israel and being able to actually walk again without a cane and be able to be in the. We have to recognize when we say En Od Milvado and Hashem Akol Yachol, you have to really allow that to permeate your essence and to really, really, really feel what that feels like. And that's what simcha is about. Simcha is all about allowing yourself to go into a place where you're breaking your sechel completely, and music helps. It's very hard to not, and that's why the whole idea of Sukkot is all about the idea of playing music, right? I was sitting today in the sukkah and they were playing downstairs here the Hallel. They were, a long time Hallel, and at one point you might think I was thinking to myself okay, are they over? No, it shouldn't be over. It's the simcha, it's the music, that's what gets us, right? And so let's just quote something from the Kutei Moran where Rabbi Nachman says, "Ve'al yedei marash chora ve'atzvut b'moach hamoach ve'hadat b'galut." Rabbi Nachman says, right? We give him a schut for his yahrzeit today. Of course, many such rich chokhmot and wisdom comes out from the Kutei Moran. What he basically says is that when a person is clogged up in depression and in sadness and they give up hope and they don't believe, they don't know where is the Yeshua, me'an yavo izli, right? Then their mind becomes so clogged up, their brain becomes so confused, they have no Yeshua dat. So even the logical explanations of what they think could possibly happen, whether it be the negative ones or the positive ones, all of that is just clogged up with a bunch of blockages. And what he teaches us here is that simcha hamoach miyushav. The idea of being besimcha puts you in, as we say in energy medicine, a completely different frequency. It breaks and it shatters the barriers around your brain to logically be able to see something else. It literally jolts the brain and allows you to be able to now see, oh, wait a minute, but I never thought about that other idea. There are other ideas. Don't think that all the ideas that you came up with are the only ideas. Don't think that the only plans that you made are the only possible plans that Hashem could bring you. Your shalom bayit, your simcha, your tshuva, your whatever it is that you're looking for, right? Your parnasah. Hashem has endless possibilities, and that's why Rabbi Nachman says the only place that really resides besimcha, and that's not something you have to create, by the way. It's just something just like Emuna. Emuna is something we all have. It's a soul power that we all have. But you have to be able to break the kalipa that hides that energy, and there the dam breaks open, and you're able to actually go into that place of simcha and emuna, right? So Rabbi Nachman says there's that one place that you could tap into, that if you could tap into that place, you will be besimcha. What's that place? The neshama. Why is the neshama besimcha? Because the neshama, from her perspective, she sees the world and she's like, what are you getting all excited about? What are you getting excited over? A house? What are you getting excited over? A new pair of shoes? You're getting excited over a sale? Like, what are you getting excited over? The neshama says, you know what really is going to make you happy? No, the neshama never stops davening. The neshama never forgets that it's attached to Hashem Yitbarach, that it's attached to the source. So when we remind ourselves, when we just talk to our neshama, when we get into that place of the mindset of recognizing Hashem, there's a part of me that's always connected to you. And what is that? Why is that neshama happy? Why is that neshama besimcha? Because all of her needs are met. She doesn't need anything else. She has Hashem. The minute she has Hashem, what do I need anything more? Anything else is null and void. It's a generic compared to the original. And so if we could tap into that neshama, if we could just go beyond, again, the physical essence of who we are and recognize that at the end of the day, there's that part within self that's called the neshama, that's the engine that's feeding us, and speak to her and say, I know that, haneshama lach, Hashem says that neshama is yours. It's yours. I gave it to you. She's with you. It's 120. Speak to her. Ask from her. From her comes the wisdom of the voice, so to speak, of Hashem, and get a hold of her and ask, why am I here? Ask, speak to her. Why am I here? What is my life all about? What is the purpose in all of this? And close your eyes. Go into that space. Go into that place of calmness, of peace, of knowing that everything that you need, even though you feel right now you're lacking something, go to that place and tap into that place and recognize that you're not lacking anything. You actually have everything that you need. It's just boxed and it's being covered up, and you just are identifying with something else. But really, essentially, everything that we need, even when I was in that apartment, even though it might have appeared to be as though I didn't have, but I had to find simcha, even there, being in that place of lacking. And you know what? I wouldn't give up those years. I think to myself, well, if you only had the apartment a few years earlier, you'd be done with your mortgage before you were 80. It would be nice to have mortgage done before 80 years old, but okay, this is what Hashem wanted. This is what Hashem wanted. Al pi teva, this is what Hashem wanted. And if I lost those years of being besimcha when I was in that other apartment, then what did I gain? It can't be connected to my condition. I've said this before. If my relationship with Hashem is connected based on you have to answer my requests, then what kind of relationship is that? What kind of a relationship do I have with Hashem is if I only feel that you love me when I get up from my davening and I feel like you answered my tefillahs or you did what I wanted you to do? That's not a relationship. That's not a relationship we have with our husbands, with our children, or with anybody, right? Or even with myself. I don't love myself on condition. I have to love myself unconditionally, right? And so if I can attach myself to that place, that neshama, and I recognize, Hashem, you're residing inside of me, which means I'm important enough that you decided to give a part of your essence in me. You, so to speak, parted from yourself and put yourself into exile through me, through my chisronot, through my lacking, through my imperfections, through my defects, flaws, and whatever it is you want to call it. You decided to share space with me. I must be making it worth your while. There must be something here that's sort of good for you too. And just being in that space and recognizing and going deeper and recognizing there's something here that needs to be elevated. And what needs to be elevated, I see now, again, coming now, having that request, so to speak, this one request on the bucket list of many others that we have, right? That's checked off, so to speak, right now. But I see that, again, the level of appreciation, the level of yearning that came out through all of those years, like I said, 13 years, 13 meters of rachamim. There was this relationship that was now formed, that was developed throughout those years that I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I wouldn't want to have a different relationship with Hashem. So now, during Sukkot, why was it important for me particularly to have this night, dafka, during Sukkot? Because Sukkot is called Zman Simchatenu. What does that mean? So, the Chol Zman Va'et, right? There's a Zman for everything in this universe. The Zman to acquire, the time to acquire simcha, the ability to tap into simcha for the whole entire year can only be found here. It's born and it's raised up from the bottom, going upward only from Sukkot. This is the time, Hashem says, this is the time where I'm enabling you to tap into what's called simcha. And simcha, right, the words for Mashiach is yismach, right? So the whole idea of simcha and Mashiach and Geula and having all of our requests, Be'ezrat Hashem, answered is now. This is the time. And Hashem says, don't miss out on this opportunity. The tzivui is v'samachta. And it's a tzivui. Why? What does that mean? They once asked the Baal Shem Tov, what is the hardest mitzvah to be Makayim? And he answered his disciples, v'samachta b'chagecha b'Sukkot. He actually answered his disciples. He said, it's the hardest thing to be v'samachta b'chagecha, because when you have the tzivui, the Yetzer Hara says, oh, you have a commandment? Now we're going to go and wait for her around the corner. Now we're going to go and catch her at the corner by her tail's end, and we're going to make sure that she's not besimcha. We're going to get the kids all rowdy, and we're going to make sure there's not enough money, and we're going to, get annoyed at the neighbors, and we're going to be a lot with the kids, so we'll see things with the kids that we're not too thrilled about, and everything under the sun. And Dafka Hashem says, I need you to see me. I need, the tzivui is vesamachta. I know it's work, Hashem says. I know it's hard. I know it's not something that's going to come easy. You have to seek it out. Rabbi Nachman says it very clearly. Simcha is not something that we think, oh, wake up and I'll just, I'll be besimcha. You have to work at being besimcha. That's why it's a tzivui, it's an instruction, it's a commandment. There's going to be an obstacle, there's going to be kuvim, there's going to be delays, and it's not going to be easy. That's why, thank God, we have music. Again, put on the music. You'll find your hips starting to move without you even wanting, without you even trying. It'll just somehow, it gets the vibes up. Put on music. Thank God today I have to tell you, everything has a Bluetooth attached to it with a speaker. I have never in my life seen such a thing. My light has a Bluetooth in it. What do I need a Bluetooth attached to my phone on the, everything you can have speakers all around your house. Literally every appliance today has speakers. Make sure you're playing music all of the time. And what is the guarantee? What is the guarantee? V'samachta bechagecha v'hayita ach sameach. Ach is rak, only. Hashem says, v'samachta, if you makayem v'samachta, guess what? Hashem says, I guarantee you. V'hayita, then you will be ach sameach, you'll only be happy. You'll only be happy, you won't be batzvut the whole year round. If you do the avoda during Sukkot, and you worked on v'samachta, and that's your bchira, that's your free will. You have that option of being besimcha. I guarantee, Hashem says, I make a promise for you, you will be ach sameach, you'll be only happy all of the time. So again, the question is, so now what do? I have the simcha, and okay, Orit Esther saying, we got to be besimcha, and now on the other hand, I have all these struggles that I'm dealing with. You notice I'm putting the simcha on the right? My right side of my heart is saying, okay, I'm hearing the music, I'm ready to dance. Okay, but what about my Yankee and my Sarah and my Rivka and my this and my that? What do I do with them? What do I do with all this? And the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh teaches us, you have to be able to be okay with both. Being a Jew means I'm besimcha, and I'm holding on to the crying. I could do both, and I could go back and forth, and no, we're not schizophrenic when we are. We could be besimcha, and we could also be besimcha when the tears are crying out and we're begging Hashem to send us the Yeshua, right? V'shavtem mayim b'sason mimayanei hayeshua, right? The tears, the crying, if you have your eye on mimayanei, that this is going to bring out a mayan of Yeshuot, then you can also cry because you haven't left the place of the Emuna and the simcha. So they knew I was going to be talking. They knew I had to put the music on. I was wondering how I was going to be able to do this. But the idea is you could hold both. The Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh says hold both. You could, ahava gives birth to yira, which eventually gives birth to rachamim. We know that Abraham gave birth to Yitzchak, right? Our ushpizin. The yira and the dinim and the difficulties and the challenges, we can reside with it as long as we first preface knowing that there's an Abraham and there's chesed and there's love and Hashem loves me. I can deal with the yira. I can deal with the things I'm afraid of. I can deal with the things that worry me if I first remember Hashem ohev oti. Hashem loves me. Always to remember, and I love you, Hashem, to always remember to say those words. I know you love me, Hashem, and I know I love you, Hashem, and I know you love me. Even though I may not feel it right now, and I could still be there in that place of constriction of the yira, and eventually that allows me to come into a place of rachamim, where I could feel Hashem's compassion. That even in this place, even though I feel constricted and I feel like the things aren't going 100% my way, and I know, that it's also hurting you, Hashem, that you're not answering me too. Again, imanochi b'tzahah, you're with me. So as I'm constricted, so you are constricted, and I understand that. But you know what, Hashem, I know you're with me. And as I recognize your compassion, I know that your compassion will rain upon me, Be'ezrat Hashem. And that's what we ask for now when we're here in the sukkah. We ask for Hashem, please enable me ta'amu kama tov Hashem. Let me be besimcha from being in your mechitza, from being embraced within you in this beautiful place called the sukkah. Enable me to be besimcha, just to be with you alone in the cheder yichud of sukkah. I want this to be all that I need. Let my neshama sustain me all year round, that I don't need anything else but to be in a dirat arai, but to be in a temporary place. My whole life is temporary. I want to be able to feel that temporal existence, and to still feel my feet grounded and my soles of my feet feeling safe and secure in my existence, because you, Hashem, are holding me up. And that's essentially what Be'ezrat Hashem, where we're supposed to be. I'm going to say just a little bit more, a couple of ideas that I feel like I need to share as part of the miracles, because as Ganendi knows, and Dvar Hadassah was there too. You were there also. A few were there at the Seudat, Sa'adeni Vevashea, right? So we did a Sa'adeni Vevashea. For those who know, wonderful. And for those, you can fall asleep a few seconds. For those who don't, I'll share. Sa'adeni Vevashea is a Seuda that we do pre the Hodaya. It's a Seudat that we do, and we say, I will create a meal, I will create a simcha, right? A meal of festivity, and in that merit that I have so much Emuna in you, Hashem, that I just anticipate. It's just a matter of time before I actually do a Seudat Hodaya, right? So we did a Seudat Sa'adeni Ve'vashea in our home a couple of months ago. You have to understand, this was in the midst of 3 times receiving denial to get mortgage. We kept getting denial after denial after denial. Age, this, came a million excuses. Everyone kept saying, oh, you'll get a mortgage, no problem. Denial after denial after denial. So last year, this time, we were just ready to go a couple days later to a trip to the Ukraine last October, right? And some of you are here that actually had the Sukkot, we went together, right? And we got our 3rd rejection just before that. So something I don't tend to do very often, but I went to do my nails, okay? On camera, yes, I went to do my nails just before we went to the Ukraine. I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do my nails. We're going to the Ukraine. I'm going to see the Baal Shem Tov. I got to look good. I want him to be proud of his Talmidah, right? So I'm doing my nails. And the Balabati there, and I have to give full credit to her. Her name is Dvora. She's a beautiful clinic here in Ramat Bet Shemesh Aleph, actually on En Gedi itself. She does great beauty stuff. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, and I'm getting my nails done, and I'm cracking a conversation with her. And she was asking me, oh, you live in En Gedi? Yeah, I live up the bottom. Oh, I'm just renting now. She's, okay. I'm like, yeah, God willing, Bezrat Hashem, one day I'll have the zchut to be able to buy something. She looks at me, she says, what's the problem to buy? I'm like, well, we kind of keep getting rejected, get mortgages. You keep getting rejected? You don't know Shlomo? I'm like, no, I guess I don't know who Shlomo is. Tell me who Shlomo is. You have to call Shlomo. She sends me the number. Now, the next day, I'm going to the Ukraine, okay? This was Wednesday. I think we went on Thursday. I don't remember. Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. Right. So I give the number to my husband, and I said to my husband, Avi, you got to call Shlomo. Who's Shlomo? I said, I don't know. I met this woman, and she said, we got to call Shlomo. So you got to call Shlomo. So we land in Ukraine. I call my husband. First thing, did you call Shlomo? No, I didn't call Shlomo yet. Typical man, right? No, didn't call Shlomo yet. Avi, you got to call Shlomo. You got to call Shlomo. Okay, I'll call Shlomo. Friday, do you remember we were stuck in traffic? We didn't know if we were going to, right? You remember we were stuck in traffic. We didn't know we were saying Sifrei Tehillim to Kazoo. We were like, what was the name of our driver? What was the name of our drivers? What was it? Who? Pablo's driving like a maniac, trying to get us through the traffic, and we're saying to him, right? And Nina's like, I'm not looking how he's driving. Oh my gosh, he's going against the. We literally went against everything just to get us, and we're like, we don't have a lot of time before we get to Mezzibush. We got to make it to Mezzibush. And in the car, as we're there, I call my husband. Did you call Shlomo? We're in the midst of all this. And he says, yeah, I called Shlomo. He actually called Shlomo. He says, where'd you get this guy from? I said, I told you, the woman from the nails. He says he can help us. He sounds really good. I'm hopeful. I'm like, so am I. We make it to Mezzibush. I go into the Baal Shem Tov. Of course, all I'm doing is, Baal Shem Tov, please, we need in our apartment. May it be your will that Shlomo be a good shaliach for us. Please, may it be your will. We want to buy our home in Eretz Yisrael. I know how much Baal Shem Tov wanted 3 times. He tried to come to Eretz Yisrael. Please, may it be your will. Top. Now, some of you remember, right? We left the Ukraine. We left Mezzibush, and this never happened to me before, okay? I'm going to leave the tzion of the Baal Shem Tov, okay? And I have my hand on the handle of the door, all right? And it's very hard for me to leave the Baal Shem Tov. Very, very hard for me. You know, I become like a basket case, right? So I turn around, and I'm like, I'll see you soon. I don't know why I said that. I have no idea why I said that, right? We leave Mezzibush. Long story short, Kesher Nafshi was planning a trip to the Ukraine 2 weeks after that. And when we were still in the taxi going to Kiev, they had already invited me 2 weeks later to come back. So we were there. I was davening, please, may it be your will that we get the mortgage. We go, come back, still working with Shlomo. Shlomo's telling us things are looking good, things are looking good, things are looking good. Going back to Mezzibush, finish Shabbat, Sunday, my husband's meeting me as I'm walking to the kever, and he shows me the text, "You're pre-approved for mortgage." I go into the kever, and I bawl my eyes out, and all the women are like, "I hope your tefillah gets answered." I'm like, "It did! It did!" And I'm just thanking, and I'm thanking, and I'm thanking, and I have to tell you, one of the things that came to me while I was there is I opened up one of the Sfarim of the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, and I read the following that till today in my siddur that's falling apart, I took a picture of it. If anybody wants, I'm happy to share it. The following words come to me. I said, I need to learn something at the kever, the Sukkot of the Baal Shem Tov. How do I say thank you? I open up and I read a part, and I think it's in Keter Shem Tov, where the Baal Shem Tov, in his siddur, he had a certain nosach, a certain verbiage that he would say every single day. The Baal Shem Tov. We're not talking about Moshmo, right? We're talking about the Baal Shem Tov. This is what he said. This is the tefillah that he said every day to Hashem Yibach, and this is what I'm opening at the kever, right? It says like this, Tefillah Nidira, I'll say it in English after, Tefillah Nidira Shitkabla Me'Abal Shem Tov HaKadosh. It goes like this, Ani Yodea, Shegam Hara'a Hi Letova, Ach She'ata El, Velo Adam, V'tochal La'asot Mira'a Tova Mamash, Shelo Yeh Shum B'chinat Ra, ואף על פי כן יהיה לטובה בכל עניינים שתוקן התיקון הצורך מהטוב גופה. Every day I say this. What does it mean? It says, basically the Baal Shem Tov says, listen Hashem, I know that all the bad is for the very best, but what can I do? Ata El, you're a God, but I'm just a human being. I don't understand that. My language, I don't get it. I don't know what that good means. For me, it's bad. V'tochal, but I know you, Hashem. You're El. You're God. You could do anything. V'tochal lasot mira'ah. You can make this bad thing that I'm interpreting that I know is good. I know it's good. You could take this bad thing, v'lasot oto tova mamash. You could take this bad thing and you could switch it around so that when I digest it, when you spoon feed it to me, it doesn't taste like bitter medicine. It tastes like honey dripping combs. Shelo yeh shum b'chinat ra. Not only can you make it good, but I won't even feel an essence. There won't even be an inkling of bad. It'll be mamish good through and through. Ve'avat bichen. And even though now I'm tasting good, so one might think, oh, if it's good, that means it's not really being mataken. That means it's not really going to produce what I need to learn and what I need to escalate and elevate from this. It's going to ruin the actual essence of what's supposed to be happening here. I still want it to be l'tova. I still want it to fix everything it needs to, but I want to taste the good. I know I'm here to do a tikkun. I want the tikkun hatzorech, whatever needs to be metaken, me'atov gufa, from the essence, the goof itself should be good. The Baal Shem Tov asked from this, and this is what I'm reading, and I'm thinking to myself, look at that, Hashem, you're asking me to make this. I felt like and I took it upon myself, and it's here in my siddur, and every day I say it, because we are human beings, and we can't recognize the good. We only, unfortunately, sometimes can only see the good after our fleshy eyes, right? Rabbi Nachman says we should daven to Hashem and say, please may it be your will, Hashem, that my fleshy eyes should see that which I know to be true. The Emuna that I'm working so hard to extract from within my kishkas, show me, tochiach oti, prove to me that which I have Emuna will be shown to me. For your sake, lemancha Hashem, rak lemancha, no lemani, for your sake, so that your name could be glorified. That's the whole idea. So I'll just say one last thing. I was thinking to myself, how do I say to you, thank you, Hashem? How do I say to you, thank you for such a... I have no words. I've been wanting to have an apartment since I was 18 years old. When I was a youngster here living in Israel, I always wanted to have my own apartment. I always wanted to have it here. But malasot, Hashem made it we moved to America, and yes, I had an apartment there, but it wasn't good. It was never good enough. I wanted my house in Eretz Yisrael. Nothing, you can give me the biggest house in America. It was never good enough. And at one point, we had 2 houses. It was never good enough. I wanted my small little piecey little 2x2 place here in Eretz Yisrael. I just wanted it. I want my Alba Amot here in Eretz Yisrael, right? And so I walked around a couple Shabbosim ago, and all my insights come on Shabbos, but I can't write them down, but hopefully I try to remember some of them. So I walked over to my husband, tears streaming down. I said, how do I say Todah? How am I supposed to tell these ladies on Seudat Hodaya? How am I supposed to tell them to... I can't find the words to be able to say Todah, but not just for the apartment, for everything, for being here in Eretz Yisrael, for going through bankruptcy, through having MS, and being where I am today, where women reach out to me and they want chizuk from me. I'm in the meantime mashmata in my own right, and yet and where are these words coming from? Where do these words come from? I don't even know where they come from. Where do the books come? I don't know. Where do the shulim? Where does the energy work? Where does it come from? It's not from me. Zelom mimeni. I don't have the ability to do any of this. You're doing all of this. And I see it chad le'echad, one for one, that it's mamish not me. I take zero credit. Zero credit. So how do I say Todah? And suddenly I'm sitting here on this Milpesach before it was a Sukkah. And I say to myself, let me look at the letters. Let me look at the letters that spell the word Todah. Taf, Vav, Daled, Hey. Now, for those who know the Hebrew letters, right? What did we learn? We learned that the first letter of a word tells you the spiritual essence of what it's about. The last letter of any word tells you the tachlis of where it's supposed to lead you to. And the middle letters are the kelim. They're the tools that you're supposed to use in order to reach that last letter, that end goal. But the first letter is really the mahut of why that thing exists. So if you take the word Todah, the first letter is the letter Taf. Strange. That's the last letter of the Aleph Bet. Does that mean that Todah means I have to always recognize the end result, that there's something that's going to come from that which I'm saying thank you for, that I can't see that end because it's so far away, because I have to go through 22 letters in order to actually see the Taf at the end? But there is an end. There is an end. And that's why I'm saying thank you to you, Hashem, for bringing that to an end, or bringing that end to me, or whatever it is that I'm asking for. I say Todah. And what are the middle letters? Vav. In order to get to that place of Todah, I have to be in a place of a pipeline. The letter Vav is a pipeline. I have to remember that it's always from you, Hashem. It's all from Shemaim La'aretz. I'm in that Vav. I always recognize it's not from me. It's all from you. And you're feeding me this pipeline through the letter Vav. You're all the time giving and giving and giving and giving. That puts me in a place of the Tedra and the frequency of Todah. And that opens up the next letter, Daled. That's the door. I say thank you because doors are open. I'm a dal. I see myself small. I see myself poverty-stricken. What is Daled? It's dal ruach. I'm humble. My head is down. I recognize it's all a gift. And the doors are open. They're all open. Anything can happen. And that essentially leads to me where I need to be. Where do I need to be? I need to reside in the Hey. What is the letter Hey? Hey is the easiest sounding letter of the whole alphabet. It's the sigh. It's the letter that Hashem used to create this world. Hashem created this world with the letter Hey. Because it says, Chazal says that it was so easy for Hashem to create this world that all he had to do was let out Hevel Piv, all he did was went, and the world was created. That's how effortless, so to speak, it took for Hashem to create the world. The next world is the letter Yud. It's even that much more simpler for him, so to speak. It's the letter Yud. It's like a little dot. It's nothing for him. It's already in existence. By the way, the Yud is already in the Hey. So the Olam Haba is already in here. It's in this world. So that's what Todah means, is to see the end, recognize it's all from Hashem. Everything is open. And just be quiet and let it happen. And just be humble and just connect to your five. Hey is five, your five levels of your soul. Recognize that you're made of multi-dimensions and there's so many tikkunim that you need to go through, and just be quiet. Silence. Hey means, how can I ever say thank you to you, Hashem? Hey means there's no words. There's the ha. That's the place I'm in right now. I'm in the hey. I don't know how to say thank you to you, Hashem. And then if you go further, I want to say one last thing, and with that I end. If you're in your Todah, what is the next? If you really want to go and beef it up one more, what do you say? Todah Rabba. What is Rabba? What is Rabba? Switch the letters around. Baal Hashem, the son of Hashem. If you can make it to the Rabba, I'm not just saying Todah. I'm not just saying thank you, but I'm saying Rabba. I know Birov Kol, Rov Hashem. It's all from you. If it's all from you, if I'm in that mindset, then my Todah makes me into the child. Baal, like Shimon Bar Yochai, Bar is the son. I become the son and the child of Hashem. And I recognize that that's what Hashem wanted me to do. He just wanted me to open myself up and recognize that the story is still unfolding, and to know that everything is a process and everything is a journey. And all I could say is Melech Chai V'Kayam Modim Anachnu Lach. We say every day Modim Anachnu Lach. We don't even know what we're saying Modim Anachnu Lach, but we say it in the present tense because we don't even recognize what it means to know what could have, should have happened that day or that moment. We don't realize what Hashem has done, how He's turned the world around in order to share Himself with us, every single one of us. So go home and appreciate everything that you have. In Sukkot it says, Shavtem mayim b'sason. What I have to appreciate, simchat beta shoava. What is it to draw water? Like, I'm not drawing out gold. It's Shavtem zahav, right? Okay, tell me. Shavtem mayim, yes. The whole simcha of Sukkot is to appreciate even something like water. The idea of opening up your faucet and Shavtem mayim, water's coming out of your faucets. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem, for everything, for the things I know, the things I don't know, the things I'm aware of, the things I'm not, the things I'm conscious of, things my heart feels, and what I hear, so many things we don't even know. We don't know how many nisim and niflaot Hashem osei tanu yom rega. And that should be the essence. And that is the simcha. And that, if we can just go into that frequency and stay with it now, Be'ezrat Hashem, we can get to it all year. But that'll take us, Be'ezrat Hashem, throughout the whole entire year. We should always meet b'smachot. Hodu Hashem, kitov ki olam chazdo. Everyone, we should just meet b'smachot. And thank you so much for coming. And I really, when we have a chance, I want to just be able to say Nishmat Kol Chai. I know you have to go. I tried to squeeze it in I know, you stayed extra. Thank you.
I couldn't leave.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you so much.